All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, another Wednesday night. This is the overview. This is the excitement. It's MWR Financial. My name is Gerald W. Parker. I'll be on board with you tonight with my co-host, Mr. Eric Wilner. Guys, this is the best night of the week, in my opinion. Seriously, grab a pencil and paper. You're going to want to take some note. This is exciting. Mr. Wilner, welcome to the platform, sir.
Hey, good evening, Dr. Parker. It is great to meet back up with you as we do on this Wednesday night that I always look forward to.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. We had a chance to talk earlier today with our leadership group. Glad to have you on there, and your input and what you pour into us is always special. While I'll set up the PowerPoint, Mr. Wilner, if you would, let's talk a little bit about the thing that really drew me to you and it has allowed me to build an incredible relationship and friendship with you and business relationship. These core values. You spoke about it like no one I'd ever heard speak of it before. Yeah, I was moved by it. I was like, I got to know this guy because it means the world to me that you have that sort of insight and not only just passion for people that wanted to help people win and the things that you really believe in. And I think that's what really sets us apart. Those true values. Where we get that from. Sometimes I don't know. It's part of our upbringings. I've had a chance to meet your father, an outstanding young man. I say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so it's no surprise to me. And please say hello to him for me when you see him. But let's talk about those core values while we get the PowerPoint set up.
Hey, Gerald, he's listening to us as we speak, so you can say hello to him directly.
Mr.
But
Wilner, God bless you, sir. Looking forward to seeing you again and sharing a great meal.
89 years young and still active and just a fun guy to be around. But you
Wow.
talk about these core values, and I think we all have them, but some people have them more defined than others. And I was fortunate enough to discover those things that really move me. In fact, I'm reading a book that I read probably three other times before. It's called A 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And he was talking about, the object of the game is not retirement to be do nothing. The object of the game is to have choices, right? And what we have to do in our lives in order to get to the place where we can make all those choices is that A, you got to make good choices. But B, what you have to do is you have to live by certain core principles that get you excited. You see, if I had to do what I do every day and for free, I would still be very happy. It's fortunate that what we do pays handsomely. But here are the three core values. Number one is that I honestly believe that everyone should own their own home. There have been many studies about it. There's been research, and I'm not just talking about the financial advantage, because just the difference between a renter and a homeowner at retirement is over $300,000 difference. Okay. So it's not a 2x difference. It's not even a 10x difference. It's a 40x difference. And so people who grow up in homes that they owned, their families owned, there's less drug use, less teenage pregnancy, there's fewer divorces. There's 100 different reasons why home ownership benefits not only the core family, but the community and hence the world. So it is a deep conviction that everyone should own a home. And unfortunately, it's not as easy. And in fact, it's getting harder, right? Between affordability, between banks, making very selective criteria in order to give it. We're going to talk about when the banks say no, what we do. Conviction or core belief number two is that I believe that you should have your house, your financial house in order with a written plan. Okay. It's not a financial plan up here. All of us might have that, but unless you can actually write it clearly on paper, it's not that clear, right? In fact, it should be clear enough that you could write it on paper, slide it across the table. I could slide it across to you, Dr. Parker. You would read it and you go, I got it. I see what you're trying to do. That's beauty and that's power. And belief number three is that I believe everyone needs to have multiple streams of income. We cannot depend on one source whether it be Social Security or a 401k plan or a job. We need to have multiple streams of income, which often that means is having a business. And even if it's a part-time business, it could be a part-time business or a full-time business. But that opens up the door to over 400 different tax advantages that the employee, W-2 employee, doesn't have access to, but simply by having a business, a part-time business, a full-time business, just not a sometime business. But this is how you make the most of the world here. And that's why we call this, the financial edge. What we're going to talk about are the things that the wealthy have been doing for centuries. Okay. I'd love to call these financial secrets, but they're only secrets among the people that already know. It's simply not shared. Why are the things that we're talking about tonight not shared in our elementary schools, our middle schools? And it's not taught in public schools. It's taught in private schools. It's taught in private families. But here is an opportunity. And I hope everyone, like you said, break out a piece of paper, take some notes. We're going to be dropping golden nuggets along the way, and then we're going to show you how to create the plan. In fact, by the end of today's presentation, and this is why, Dr. Parker, this is why I'm here, right? It's because of the alignment with those three beliefs was so good. I said, a company that believes the same thing as a good person should believe is a company that I can invest in. And I want to see what they do. In fact, I want to make a difference. I want to spread the good word. And that's why you and I are here tonight.
No question about it, sir. So let's dig in, Eric. Guys, we're talking MWR. MWR stands for Make Wealth Real. And this is where lifestyle and legacy connect. And we're going to take you on a quick journey to help you understand basically what Mr. Wilner was talking about, and that we've developed a plan to help you actually get there. So let's talk a little bit about the company. First, we're the only lifestyle and legacy company of its kind. You won't find this anywhere else. Company was founded in 2017, a totally debt-free company, a multi-million-dollar company, and doing all of that, Eric, in just 8 years. But you mentioned those things that kind of drew you to MWR, and here are the same things that drew me. We talk about the mission. What the mission is to help the average everyday person experience true financial freedom. Who doesn't want that? And then we talk about the vision of the company to create more financial independent families than any other company in history. I want to be a part of that. But here's the level playing field that we've got that's been created by MWR for the average everyday person. We've got access now, true access to the same system, strategies, and experts previously reserved, Eric, for the wealthy. Those very few select people that you've talked about, we now have the opportunity to join them because, again, the playing field has been made even through these systems that MWR has created. So we got a real chance now, sir.
Absolutely. And the reason why wealthy people have coaches, advisors, the experts that they hire, the CPAs, the CFPs, is because it's worth it, right? But they don't have to worry. They can afford when the meter's running at 200, 300, $500 an hour. You often say that we're not barred from it. It's not really kept a secret, but in many cases, we're priced out of that access. And MWR is about to level the playing field so that anybody who is involved with MWR, any member, has the same access that the wealthy does without having to worry about the meter ticking.
Wow, we're going to turn the financial industry on its head, man, and we're on our way to doing it. But let's look at our ability to tap into a global market when it comes to finances, right? So MWR offers a risk-free way to tap into the global financial market. And Eric, when we look at the makeup of finances, money that circulates throughout this world, globally, the economy itself, I mean, it accounts for 30% of that. So what does that look like in a dollar figure? $36 trillion, the current market size. But here's the joy and the excitement. In the next 5 years, that's predicted to grow to $50 trillion. So that says to me, sir, there's enough for all of us, right? We can get a piece of this pie.
Not only is there enough for everybody, this is not an exclusive pie. It could be an inclusive pie, but you have to be at the table, right? And then the other thing that's really great about this, when you think about this, $36 trillion with a T, okay? We're in a whole new world. $1 million isn't what it used to be when you're talking about a multi-trillion. And we're talking about a multi-million-dollar company in a multi-trillion-dollar industry, which it itself, by example, is debt-free. But you know what's even better than all of that? Because you and I both know that the NBA, the MLB, the Major League Baseball, the National Basketball Association, and the NFL combined aren't as big as the global finance industry. But here's what's even better about that is, you know what conversation we have every single day?
Money.
Money, right? You know, the gas pump prices, the price of eggs at the supermarket, inflation, interest rates. I mean, I talk about this every day on my radio show because finances, you know, you could say, well, it's the love of money or that's the problem. It's not. It's merely an exchange, right? What is important is not what money is. Nobody works to have a stack of paper on their table. That's what put food on the table. That puts a roof over your head. We have that money conversation literally every day and probably several times a day. Now imagine being with a company sitting right smack dab in the middle of the largest industry and part of the daily conversation. What do you think about that?
I'm loving it, sir, because we're bringing the solution to the table. MWR is offering a path to wealth, a three-step path to wealth. And let's dig in. First of all, in order to obtain wealth, we've got to have ourselves in a position where we've got money making money for us. And that's where most of us fall off because we can't access this money until now. So how do we do it? We're going to use the bank's money. We're going to have the ability to access guaranteed unsecured business funding through our MWR 360 model. 360 fundable model, actually. Now, what do we do next? We purchase income producing assets, give us an opportunity to generate passive monthly income while benefiting from appreciation over time. And Eric, here's the best part of the entire program for me. We get a chance to share this good news, meaning offer this opportunity, this three-step path of wealth to as many people who will gravitate toward it. And we're going to be paid a ridiculous amount of money. We have the ability to generate multiple streams of immediate and residual income by just sharing.
Just sharing, and the truth is, we would do it anyway, right? If we weren't paid ridiculous amounts of money. But when I go to a good restaurant, I tell my friends. I have a great experience with a service, I refer it to my friends. And the same thing happens with my good experience, my good services, the great trips that I have, and the great investment and finance experience that I have with MWR.
Absolutely, sir. So let's dig in a little deeper, Eric, and help our audience kind of understand how we start this. How do we begin to secure the funding to move ourselves forward so that we can play this game on the same level that wealthy people do?
Yeah, and what I love about it, you broke it down. There's three simple steps. It started with getting the bank's money. One of the things that the wealthy have mastered is using other people's money. The banks, they use other people's money, and do it very well. And so with MWR, let's take it from Wall Street. Let's take it to Main Street. We're going to show you how to obtain business credit. Okay. Now pay attention to the word business credit because that is separate and apart from personal credit. Now, you know me, I'm a big advocate about having good personal credit, but now I'm also a big advocate of having two profiles, a personal and a business profile. Imagine being able to borrow twice as much because you maintain two good profiles, perfectly legal. In fact, that's what the wealthy do. So no personal credit is needed. You can qualify without using or giving your social security number. So if you have bad credit or no credit, we're talking about a fresh start. $50,000 minimum, access to a substantial amount of money to be able to launch your business, to be able to enhance your business. In fact, for any purpose that you want. But today we're talking about getting money to invest. Now, you have to put up zero collateral. This is 100% unsecured funding, which requires no personal credit and no personal collateral. Here's the very good part about this is that you're not on your own doing this. Okay. We don't give you a manual and say, go get them, Tiger. We say, here, work with our experts that do this day in and day out to assist you along the path to answer every question whenever you have without worrying about, my $200 an hour CPA or my, consultant for $500 an hour. You get this throughout the entire process with no time limit as to how much time you need. We also, and this is where you put your money where your mouth is. This comes with a 100% guarantee, a funding guarantee. That means that if you enroll in MWR's Fundable 360 program, they will stay with you until you get that funding. And but of course, you got to cooperate, right? You've got to help do the things that you've got to do. But the thing about that is this is ongoing funding. So when you get your first 50,000, the minimum, they're going to continue to coach you and say, listen, besides pay it back on time, the obvious, do these few things, and the next time around they're going to offer you 100,000, $150,000. And that's how businesses grow. And banks love to lend to people that they can tell are going to pay them back. So
Once the
that's step one.
No doubt. But once the door opens, it doesn't close. And that's the beautiful part about it. So you've helped us secure the money. Let's go to step two. We talked about a three-step path, right? So here we are, step two, Eric.
That's right. So now we secured the funding, the guaranteed, and we'll just assume the minimum funding. We're going to go out and purchase an asset, okay, an investment. Now, I don't care whether it's real estate, or an investment that you understand very well. But let me just open your eyes to an opportunity that's precious metals. You see, you're probably hearing more and more about precious metals in the news. Why? Because it's a great hedge against inflation. There's a scarcity of metals as the world grows and the population grows and businesses grow. The demand for precious metals is going through the roof. So we purchase silver, gold, platinum, palladium. There's a certain number, and by the way, once again, experts to guide you along the way. You're not on this journey alone. Then what you do, once you've purchased your $50,000 worth of precious metals, you put it in storage where it's safe, secure, and insured. While it's there, appreciating, you can also, just like real estate, I could buy a house and it's going to appreciate if I did nothing with it, if I lived in it. Or I can lease it out. Same thing with precious metals, which a lot of people don't know, but you can actually lease out your precious metals, receive an income. And by the way, the precious metals don't leave the safe repository where we put it. And you can generate monthly income through this exclusive MWR leasing program. Meanwhile, these precious metals do what they do. They appreciate. You benefit from the long-term growth of the precious metals. And that's step two.
Wow. Let's move on, man. Listen, but let's get back to this for a moment. You talked about us focusing right now on silver, right? Because that seems to be the play. We see it increasing, and actually, this chart shows the experts are predicting that it will increase by 60% over the next 5 years. That is strong, but as you say, I mean, we see this happening in real time every single day. But now let's play it all out there. We've secured the $50,000. We've taken advantage of the precious metals opportunity. Show us how this works.
Yep. Like Jerry Maguire said, show me the
You know,
money, So here it is. And it's good to put numbers to concepts, right? The initial purchase, $50,000. We know that. And by the way, not my $50,000, the bank's $50,000. Now, the bank's going to charge me an interest rate. Right now, the going rate is about 8%, which results in a payment of about $333.33. Now, through the monthly leasing program, which is right now leasing out at 1.5% per month, I get paid $750, subtract out the cost of the interest, the 333, and I have a net cash flow of $416 per month. Multiply that by 12, that's $5,000 a year. Meanwhile, remember, the silver is still appreciating. We're assuming, based on the last 5 years average of 13%, a $6,500 appreciation. Add your cash flow, 2-year appreciation. Now your original $50,000 investment is worth 65,000 or $61,500. As you can see, that's year one. That's, tangible, palpable return on your money, all without risking. So far, it's not my money, it's not my personal credit, it is the bank's money and my business investor credit that's doing this. Now let's take that out more than 1 year. Okay, let's
Wow.
assume a 5-year horizon. By the way, you'll see over my shoulder here the 5-year career. This is a new podcast. It's sort of a sister program to my radio show, talking about how you could have a career, start it, and be retirable in 5 years. And here's proof, by the way. This is just one of the methods that we teach our students. Number one, year one, we already talked about 61,500. Year two, we're not even saying that they're increasing the amount given, but they're going to give us another $50,000 and it's going to appreciate, and they're both cash flowing. So in year two, by the end of the year, I'm at 138,000. Year three, 234,000. I'm going to accumulate over 5 years $500,000 in assets. Think about that. In 5 years, $500,000 in assets and over $4,000 a month in passive income. P.S. A little red flag here, I should say, not a red flag, a green flag. The maximum Social Security, if you're paying the maximum into Social Security, the maximum that you could ever make is $4,000 a month. The average Social Security check today is around $1,600. That's 40% of what that is, just to give you an idea. Now, does your income and growth stop in the 5th year? Absolutely not. But this is an example in black and white of what can happen if you follow I call it the easy color by the numbers footsteps of what the wealthy are doing all around us.
Hey, here's your wealth plan on the fast track, right? I mean, because when you think about where most of us are financially, do we have a plan in place that will get us to this area or this number in 1 to 5 years? I doubt very seriously. So that's why I say we take a hard look at this and let's be serious about where we're going with our financial future. So think about it. I mean, if you walk the streets today and ask people if they'd like a risk-free way to accumulate millions of income producing assets without using their own money, what would the answer be? We know the answer would be everyone. Everybody and their mother would like to have a way to move themselves forward financially. But Eric, here's step 3. Now, here's where it gets even more exciting. You've shown us how we're going to basically accumulate this wealth through the precious metals investment, assets appreciate, and also we've created a stream of income from that investment. But now let's add to that by sharing the opportunity.
And let's not forget, Gerald, that while we were doing this, while the money was growing over those 5 years, how much time of the day, there's the setup period in the very beginning. Well, you'll put some effort in to set up your business the right way so that it becomes fundable. But after that, you're not doing anything. You could go do whatever you want to do, follow your passion, do what you want to do, because we haven't used up any of your 40 hours a week. Okay. Now, you may choose, once you start to see how this thing really works, you may make some different decisions. Here's what I mean by that. We're talking about the simplicity of what the plan was, plus duplication, i.e., sharing this with other people. That's how the wealthy not only leverage their money, but their expertise. That's how they leverage their time. So suppose I shared this with 12 people, right? And they got just as excited as you and I. And they say, I want to begin building my 5-year plan, and I'm building my network with personal referrals. I'm going to tell you, you probably have 12 people in your phone right now. You probably know 12 people that if you made that last question, if I could show you a way in 5 years to generate $500,000 and a $4,000 a month income, would you be interested? Okay. By the way, that's a great litmus test, because if somebody doesn't know you well enough or trust you enough to say yes to that very obvious question, because who wouldn't want to, have $500,000 in 5 years and a $4,000 a month income. The only reason someone would say no, either that they wouldn't be easy to work with anyway, or they're just not interested. And that's a very simple question. But I shared it with 12 people. Okay. Now let's just suppose that those 12 people who got excited and put the plan into action, but they only shared it with 6 other people, each one of those people. And each one of those people next only shared it with 3 people, who only shared it with 2, who then ultimately only shared it with 1, right? This builds a network, believe it or not, because of the power of duplication, of over 1,164 people. Do the math on your time, but this is how the math plays out. Now, if you did that with the payment structure, which I'm going to show you a little bit later, you would be generating $12,000 in monthly residual income. Now, think about this. If I had $4,000 coming in passive income from my investments, I had $12,000 of monthly residual income coming in because of my network of just, spreading the good news. That's $16,000 a month in income that continues whether you're working or not. So if you were one of those people that says, no, I love what I do, keep doing it. But I think you'll do it even better and even happier if you had an extra $16,000 coming in on a monthly basis. But what else changes, Gerald, when you have $16,000 coming in?
My friend, everything changes. The car you drive, the house you live in, the clothes you wear, where you send your kids to school, it does change everything. And we have the ability to do it with this incredible program. Referring others to MWR and our system, there's a huge advantage here. We get a chance to build a residual income by referring others to the premier wealth building system of this century, Eric Wilner. It's not been done before, and we have taken the lead on this. And we set the bar high, and we're running beyond everyone in the financial service industry. No question about it. We're getting paid every single day and every week through our payment structure. We have the ability to receive right now money for right now bills, industry leading payout. I mean, this compensation plan, which you're going to go over here in just a minute, guys, we're going to slow down, and I really want you to understand and grasp this concept as it relates to the kind of money that's on the table through this partnership with MWR. So let's get to it, Eric. Our luxury residual income, the potential loan, all right, is $15,000 a day. $15,000 a day. As we see, this $450,000 a month, well over $5 million a year. Now, I've heard you refer to this as athlete's money.
Yeah, that's the everyday person can earn the equivalent of athlete's money simply by following what I call the color by the numbers path to wealth and financial independence. It is, here's another thought, just to put in your mind. Do you know that with the average income today in the United States of about $50,000, okay, it's actually between 50 and 75,000, depending on what part of the country you're in. But imagine $50,000 comes in on average, and in later years in your career you make much more. In earlier years you might make less. But the bottom line, with an average income of $50,000, that means in 10 years you made 500,000. In 20 years you made $1 million. Okay. In 30 years, in your 30 years of your 40-year career, you've made 1.5 million. And by your 40th year, over $2 million will have flowed through your account. Most Americans, 80% of Americans, rely or die on Social Security, okay, or social insecurity, if you will. Remember I said that, and and 4,000 is the maximum on that path. So that is not a motivating or exciting path to be on. We just talked about how you can make as much as $15,000 a day, and maybe this takes a little bit longer. Some people build it fast. We're going to see a couple of examples of people who have just, they saw the message and then ran with it. We're going to see some other people who are taking their time, or maybe they're working full time somewhere else, but still methodically, consistently building up that passive income stream so that at some point in time, hopefully in 5 years, not in 40 years, they get to make the decision like the one that you made, where you walked away from a $65,000 job a year and said, I can't afford to go to work anymore because I've got to share the good news, which pays me a ridiculous amount of money. And look at that smile. If that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know, then let's continue on.
No question about it. Hey, let's reveal the plan that I use and many others have used to set themselves free. Break this down for Eric, because when we look at MWR's revenue sharing plan, again, you've been around this industry for some time, and I've been around for a little while, but I've never seen anything like this as it relates to compensation. The ability to generate these levels of income doesn't exist in any other company in this industry other than here at MWR.
Well, and before I do that, you said we're going to slow it down. Let's get a little bit of audience participation. I want to ask a question. How many people in our 36 or 38 people that are on this Zoom tonight have ever received a referral check? Okay? In other words, you gave somebody a client and then they paid you money. And it could have been just once. I'm not talking about residual. I'm just saying right now, is it not possible you can refer somebody to Amazon and you get a bonus? You refer somebody, all the influencers that you see out there, that's what they're doing. They're making all of their money simply by doing referrals. By just type a one in the chat. Okay, just type a one. I'm not asking for any more information. If you have ever received a referral, money for a referral, okay, and it's probably, painstakingly sad that everyone isn't doing that, because we're all referring restaurants, movies, and this car dealer, that doctor. When was the last time your doctor sent you a check for a referral? When was the last time your favorite restaurant sent you a check, or even a free meal for doing the referral? What we're talking about is the number one conversation that happens every single day, whether you start it or not. And now I'm going to show you how MWR is going to pay you handsomely for it. So I talked earlier about sharing it with 12, which, by the way, I think you'll easily do. But let's start with 3. Okay. Think of the first 3 people that you can think about right now that you could call up, and they know you, and that if you brought them a great idea, they would say, let's go do it. Now, if you found and built your team of just 3 people, you had 2 personal sales. By the way, you count as one. And if you had 2 personal sales and 3 people on your team, I'm not talking about, Coca-Cola money. I'm talking about, here the company's now going to start paying you $5 a day. Okay. Remember, Gerald started talking about the possibility of making 15. Well, it starts with 5. 3 people, $5 a day times 30, that's $150 a month. And that's $1,800, almost $2,000 a year, just for telling your favorite 3 people about something you'd probably tell them anyway. Now, MWR, which is paying you $150 a month now, says that if you do that in your first 30 days, only 3, in your first 30 days, they're going to give you an additional $150 as a momentum bonus. Okay. Now, that was good. Now, your team, you got to show them how to do the same thing so that they can get their $150 plus their $150 bonus. And if you do that in their first 30 days, your first 60 days, the company will bonus you. I haven't brought anybody else to my team, another $450. So far, the company has given me a $600 bonus for getting my 3 and then helping my 3 get their 3, which, by the way, causes me to have 12 people on my team, which now puts me at the level of 2-star executive director, which now is paying $20 a day, which means $600 a month. Now, $5 a day, I'll be perfectly transparent and honest, did not move the needle for Eric Wilner. Okay. And it probably won't move the needle for many of you, but it is validation, proof of concept that this thing works. And it's really fun to get that first $5. And today, to this day, every single day, I know that you do, Gerald. I know that I do. Every single day, a few minutes after 5, I get a text that says that my daily residual pay was deposited electronically into my account. Now, $600 will move the needle. It's a good car payment, could be a substantial part of a mortgage payment, but that's $7,200 for having taught three people to get three people. Well, we talked about momentum, so let's do this a third month in a row. So now I'm going to direct my attention to the new incoming class, help them to get their three people. They're going to get their $150 bonus. The second generation is going to get their $450 bonus, and you will get a $900 bonus now. Add up those three momentum bonus, 150, 450, and 900 is $1,500 in your first 90 days. Okay. This is very feasible and possible. P.S. Your group now has grown from 3 to 12 to 36 following my color by the numbers process for you to now be generating $50 a day every day, 5 o'clock. Here we go. That's $1,500 a month. Now, I promise I don't care who you are, $1,500 coming in with no further effort every single month will move the needle for anybody you know. I don't care if you have $2 in your wallet or $2 million in your account. $1,500 a month is real money. That's $18,000 a year. Again, all I did was found three key people that were interested in doing this. And now I have only told you two of the 7 different income streams. But I see, I love this luxury residual income for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's consistent. Nowhere else in the sales world can you get income coming in this consistently, and certainly not with this amount of effort. Now follow that, brownish column down, 5, 20, 50. Oh, and let me say one more thing about this level that you're at right now. $50 a day, $1,500 a month. Remember, I told you that the average Social Security check is about the same thing. It's about $1,600 a month. What most people swear and hate and dread going to their, into their car, to their cubicle, back and forth, 40 hours a week for 40 years of their life, only to end up with 40% of Social Security's maximum benefit. What if you did it in 5 years? What if you did it in 90 days? Okay, we just did it in 90 days. Now let's continue on. Follow me down just a little bit. $50 a day turns very quickly. Remember, it's not you. It's not just you. It's finding people, getting them excited in the business, and then letting them go. Okay, support them. You get tons of support, education, resources. But the effort comes through the leverage and duplication. What do the wealthy do? They leverage and duplicate what works. Now, that column, as you can see, goes all the way down, as Gerald said, to $15,000 a day. A day, okay? Try to imagine $15,000 dropping into your account every single day, no matter what time you decided to get out of bed. I know people that they get up when they get up, okay? And to be honest, a lot of these people are super excited. They get up early anyway because now they have more of the day to enjoy. 15,000 a day, $450,000 a month. Most of America never comes close to that in a year. It takes them years, and most people about 10 years to make $450,000 that some people are making per month. That turns into $5.4 million a year. Just to let you know that, we talked about validating the point. Each one of those things is a new and exciting validation. You and I know this because, some of us call this our retirement plan. You can actually do that. I tell this, you can have an income menu. How far are you willing to roll up your sleeves and put in? If I told you that if you put in a solid 5 years now, you can do whatever you want for the rest of your life. This is what is available for you. And Gerald, I've only talked about 3 of the different income streams.
Listen, Aaron, and there's more money. I mean, the lifestyle bonus pays an additional $300 a week. The legacy bonus pays from 30 to as much as $150 for everybody that joins your organization, whether you sponsor them or not. But it gets even better, my friend, because there's even more money on the table. And that's what blows me away about what we bring to the table. Fundable 360, there's a referral income associated with that. You refer any business, introduce or schedule any business owner for an MWR Fundable 360 credit and funding consultation. Then let the experts do the work. You and I get out of the way and we get paid when they enroll. How much are we going to make, Eric? $400 for that referral. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned, that I don't know any restaurant that I've actually talked up or shared with someone that has sent me a referral bonus or offered a free meal. And man, I pitched a lot of people on, for example, the Brazilian restaurant that you introduced me to in South Florida. God knows how many people I've told about that. It's, if you're ever down there, you got to go. The best food I've ever had. And thank you, sir, for the invite. But this is what it's all about. So we're going to refer people, particularly business owners that have a need for additional funding. Secure $50,000. You're going to get paid $400 for that. You see the 25% check match. Now you talked about building a network, right? So those 1,100 people that are working with you are out doing the exact same thing. They're sharing the concept. They're getting paid. And we're going to get a 25% check match actually through the end of September because of the promotion that's on the table, thanks to our CEO and founder, Mr. Brian House, who is so generous and gives away all the money. We now have the ability to make a 100% check match on that deal. So now you're making $400 on every fundable deal that someone in your organization refers. And even the legacy bonus money has been transferred to this platform as well. So we still have the ability to make an additional 30 up to $150 in legacy bonus for every business that is referred by your organization. This is powerful, my friend.
So how easy is this, Gerald? I told you before that the money conversation happens how often?
Every day.
Every day. So that part is easy. But imagine doing this. You said you imagine now walking into any a dry cleaner, a shoe repair place, or any business. You break, I fix. Your cell phone, and say, hey, listen, if I could show you a way to get access to $50,000 without using any of your personal credit, would you be interested? Tell me a business owner that wouldn't be thirsty to have an extra $50,000 come in without their personal credit. And that's how easy this business is because we're in the middle of the biggest conversation that exists.
Well, that's the beauty of the partnership with MWR. You think about, what we have here. And let's talk a little bit about the member benefits. You refer to it as basically Costco's, right? Of the financial world, because there's so much to choose from here. But think about it. We start with precious metals and leasing. That's going to give us access to MWR's exclusive precious metals and leasing program for passive income generation. We talk about the financial experts that we offer, dedicated experts to assist you in debt elimination, tax reduction strategies, as well as credit enhancement, keys to home ownership, and so many other things, Eric, as well as bill reduction services. We've got a group of professionals that are going to help you negotiate and lower your expenses to increase your cash flow. And also our MWR Rewards savings program is going to give you the ability to save money on your everyday purchases, dining, shopping, whatever it might be. So what's the goal here is to put the money back into your pocket. But I want to, before we go further, one of the components of the program that I enjoy and I've seen work multiple times is keys to home ownership. And I bring you on as an expert in this area because you're very instrumental. You were very instrumental in bringing that platform to MWR as one of the services that we can provide to the general public.
Yes, and obviously it's a service, it's a belief that I have that everyone should own a home. And many people mistakenly believe that they can't have home ownership. But let me just tell you this, when the banks say no, we say yes. We have a home buying program regardless of your credit score, okay? So regardless of what your past credit history, not only will we overlook your past credit score, but we'll help you to rebuild it and build it up to an 800 credit score if you follow our color by the number steps. So the path to home ownership cares only about one thing. If you can afford to pay rent, then you can afford to own a home, because whether you're paying it as rent or paying it as home ownership, it feels the same amount of money. But I told you before, the vast benefits that you get, the tax benefits, the appreciation, the equity buildup, the forced savings program of paying down your mortgage, not to mention less teenage pregnancy, less drug abuse, less divorce, and all of those other things. And that's why this program is so special and to my heart. And that is an exclusive benefit that when you are a member of MWR, you have access to the keys to home ownership. And we've already, since our relationship, putting these two great companies together, have helped many people become homeowners who thought and believed that they couldn't and found out that they could.
I've seen it in real time, man. The look on people's faces once they secure that home that they've been attempting to secure for years, and never were in a position to walk into a bank and secure traditional lending on a mortgage until the keys to home ownership showed up.
And a recent example, I had a couple who'd only been in the United States for a little over a year. Immigrants came over here. They immediately got their social security number, but they had no credit, And PS, in the banking world, zero credit is worse than bad credit, because bad credit, they know where you're weak. Zero credit, you're an unknown entity to them. And guess what? Today, they are homeowners. Okay. They thought that they were going to have to wait years, but they heard about our program and it says, what have we got to lose? And today they're homeowners. And that's just another example of the keys to home ownership. And PS, let me just say something out there to any realtor that's listening to this, or any mortgage broker that happens to be on tonight's call. This is a must for you. Okay. I will tell you, one of the reasons, besides the fact that they align with my core beliefs, which was fundamental, is that today I don't have anyone that I have to turn down. When they come to me for home ownership, either they're ready to go and I've got a bank loan program already lined up for them, or they're in our keys to home ownership program, and it might take maybe a little bit longer, but we've done it in as little as 3 weeks. We've taken months sometimes, but we will put you in a home. If you're coachable, if you can afford to pay rent, you can have a home. And that's, again, one of our lifestyle and legacy membership benefits. And there's so many. You're right. I call it the Costco of the financial world, because you got all these benefits and you get it at a discounted price, that if you were to pay for any of in fact, you could pay for any one of these things and it would be worth more than the cost of membership. 1 hour with a CPA could cost you more than the price of 1 month's membership. And this is where I think the playing field now finally is leveled and accessible to anybody who's serious about making progress in their financial world.
No question about it, sir. And let's talk about that price. What is it going to cost us? Well, before we get there, let's talk about the savings as it relates to, and this number comes from, or is created from, the tens of thousands of people across the country that have already accessed this program. We have the ability, Eric, through this average, to put $2,000 a month back into people's pockets. I mean, think about it. I don't care where people are in their financial life. If we can put $2,000 a month back into your pocket from your existing finances, that's a big deal, sir.
2,000 a month. Remember that there's 12 months in a year. So that's $24,000. And if the average income in America, again, is $50,000, $60,000, we're talking about a substantial amount of savings. Remember, we're going to save you on your taxes. We're going to save you on your interest and finance charges. We're going to save you on home ownership and all the other different savings programs that we have, not to mention our investment programs that we have as well.
Wow. You mentioned earlier that, we've been locked out, not locked out of the process, but priced out of the process. And simply because, I mean, in any city in America right now today, the average cost of a good CPA and financial planner, $200 to $300 an hour. Talk about our cost of membership, which basically boils down to be about the price of a cup of coffee a day.
That's right. $149.97 is the monthly fee for our membership, with no contracts. Okay. So you're not locked into anything. You don't love it, you're fine. You're not locked in. There's no setup fee. So there's no front loading or extra, gotcha charges up front. Zero. And it comes with a 30-day money back guarantee. So give it a try for a month, but try it, really try it for a month. And I bet you won't give it up after that. And PS, number one, your spouse is included. So it's not $149 per person. It's $149 for two people in the same household. It could be your wife, could be your domestic partner, could be your father, could be your son, could be your wife, daughter, whatever it is, two people. So it's really half that price. So for $75 a month, you would get a $2,000 a month savings on average. And Gerald, let me just ask you this simple question. And I ask these simple questions because it tells me whether or not I even want to continue the conversation. Gerald, if I could show you how to save $2,000 a month, but it would cost you $149, would you trade $149 for $2,000 a month?
All day, every day, sir.
Right? So I want to talk to you. You're the kind of guy, obviously, that I want to talk about. And this is what gives you complete access to all of the services that we're talking about. Unlock our precious metals purchasing and leasing opportunity. Where else do you even know where to find that? Unlock the keys to home ownership, guaranteed home ownership. Unlock so many different things for $149 a month. Now, I want you to take a pause for a second. First of all, I'm going to tell you two ways to have somebody else pay for your 149. Number one, refer 3 members. Okay, you don't have to be in the business. Just refer 3 other people who buy this membership, and yours becomes no cost. Okay, they simply won't charge you after you refer 3 customers. Or, and I'm going to say a better option is if you decide to become one of those marketing directors. And that's all we do, right? We're directing, we're referring people to the experts. The experts do the work. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a tax expert. I'm not a lot of things that MW offers, but I don't have to be, because in my back office, I have speed dial to all the experts that I need. And so the second way, remember the $5 a day? If I start a team with 3 people and I start earning $150 a month, I now have a self-funded membership by my business. Okay. So my business now has a zero cost per month. Now, if I do both, if I refer 3 people and get 3 people on my team, now I have a net positive $150 a month. And now I'm off to the races because I've only started with the 3, and I want to build up to that 1,164 members generating $12,000, or was it $16,000 a month in income. And so just remember this: the experts do the work. Okay, no license required. Available in all 50 states and U.S. territories. The experts do the work. You get to enjoy the rewards simply by sharing the good news.
That's a big deal, sir. So, Eric, listen, if I'm interested in being a partner with MWR to promote the opportunity, I'm going to use the services, but I've got to make an investment in order to become a business partner. What is my initial investment to get going?
Well, hold on to your chairs right now because the investment is $100. Okay,
Wow.
so it's a simple difference. For me, it wasn't even a choice. The benefit was so great. It's kind of like, how would you like to have a 100% IRS compliant business that it opens the door to all of the 400 plus tax benefits that I mentioned? A self-funding business. P.S. A business that is not, I'm not starting a business. I'm purchasing for $100 an existing uh, franchise formula that's already been proven. Remember, 100% debt-free company, multi-million-dollar company in a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and I can do that for $100. But let me tell you, don't underestimate. A lot of people, value not articulated is value not appreciated. It's one of my mantras. And let me just tell you that on the front end, that for your business, you now have all the web designs, the logos, all the marketing materials, the banners, the social media. All of that is done for you and delivered the day that you sign up as an MWR business owner. That's on the front side, the public facing side. Uh, Username and password protected is the back office, where you have all of the tracking, the accounting, all of the resources, the learning material, and remember, all of the experts that are all back there. So when I start my business, it comes with a CPA, a CFP, IRS enrolled agents, credit experts, financing experts, housing experts, precious metals experts, and the list goes on. So, Gerald, I asked this simple question. Would you pay a $100 one-time payment to unlock the full business ownership status with your MWR membership?
No doubt about it. I mean, you think about what that does. I mean, it puts you in business, one, with the fastest growing financial strategies company in the country. Two, it puts us in the middle of a multi-trillion dollar year industry, which is financial services. I mean, I don't know a time in my life or anyone else's life where money hasn't been an issue. You talk about the fact that that is the conversation. That is the primary conversation that people are having every single day. And we have an opportunity to show up with the solution to the problem that 98% of the people in this country are facing. The issue is finances. We're in the game now, sir. For $100, I'm all in.
Right? And not only that, we gave you the simple, literally 3 steps. See, these are things, no license required, no financial education required, but you're going to get one. And all of this for $100, it really, I hate to say it because I don't like this expression, but it is a no-brainer. And you'll see that the people, when they see that they have the opportunity, because there is no opportunity in the 40-40-40 plan. You and I both know that, that 40 hours a week, 40 years of your life, to have a 40% social security check come in every month is hardly what people went to school to get good grades, to get a job, thinking that that's was going to be the end. And yet that is the result for 80% of Americans.
Sad, sad, sad commentary, sir. So I'm going to pay $100 to get started. I've got an ongoing expense for the membership of $149. So my initial investment is $249.97. Once again, with the opportunity to generate this level of income. And when we talk about streams of income associated with this revenue sharing plan, this blows me away, Eric, because there are 8 different ways, and let's count them. We have a chance to make money with the luxury residual. Okay, that's 1. Sponsor bonus is 2. Momentum bonus is 3. The lifestyle bonus 4. The legacy bonus is 5. MWR fundable 360 referral, that's 6. The matching bonus is that 7. And now the additional of legacy bonus, added legacy bonus to that, and that's 8. 8 different ways that you generate income from one compensation plan. Unheard of. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody else probably ever will do it. So we have a chance really to do some incredible things to generate this level of income for a very small investment. But Eric Wilner, it gets even better. Now, keep in mind, you've been in and around the financial service space for decades. Tell me if you've ever seen anyone in this space offer guarantees.
Yeah, well, try it out. Call your stockbroker tomorrow and ask him if he's got any guarantees. If he still talks to you, he'll be laughing, right? Ask any of your financial advisors if they'll give you a money back guarantee, and it just doesn't happen. Okay, this is a one of a kind company. This is an industry disruptor. If our experts, this is our guarantee, if our experts, the strategies that we talked about, and there's many more, or opportunity that we just described cannot help you save or make more money in your first 30 days, 1 month, we'll give you a full, and I love to say, cheerful refund. And the reason I say cheerful, because it just doesn't happen. When people understand that for $149, which I just showed you 2 ways to get it for free anyway, but for $149 to have all of the benefits that you have, you wouldn't trade to keep your 149 and continue to lose $2,000 a month. Plus, you've got the guarantee of the fundable 360. Remember, where else? Go to a bank and says, I would like to apply for that loan that you have that I guaranteed will be approved for. Again, the bank will laugh you right out the door. This is in fact, okay, and it was designed to be this way, to be absolutely risk-free. These guarantees ensure that the only way that you can lose is by choosing not to participate in this life-changing opportunity.
It's amazing, sir. It's absolutely amazing. But and that's why we're having, I'm convinced, this level of success across the country. But Eric, we're near the end, and we want to talk about paths, right? We've talked about the 3-step path and wealth MWR's created, but we're all on a path, like it or not, right? There's a traditional path that most of us were taught. Where we get that idea from, what they say, get yourself a good education so you can secure yourself a good job. And then we revert back to that plan that you spoke of early, 40 hours a week for 40 years, and then attempt to live off 40% of the income that you were earning when you were working full time. But now, listen, current situation as it is, the status quo in this country, that 40 number has actually been pushed up to about 50 now.
Sad but true. And do you think that those greeters at Walmart, or the little old lady wiping tables at McDonald's, do you think that that was part of their life plan or their goal? No, they were forced into that because the traditional path, unfortunately, is a broken promise. Okay, this was the industrial age trying to enroll as many people to get good grades, go to school, to get a good job. Give us 40 years of your life and we'll guarantee your retirement. That was when pensions used to exist, but that has been gone since the 70s and 80s. Now, today, you are responsible for funding your 401k. The joke everywhere is that my 401k became a 201k. And, not in tonight's program, but I could explain to you all the reasons why the 401ks of the world are not designed to set you financially free. They're designed to keep you where you are. And if you're looking for a different path, like you said, the traditional path, you work 40 years, that is a broken formula. Risk your money to invest, not big business, not the government's money. Risk personal assets, put up collateral, get good personal credit, work harder for your income. Come on, Gerald. If you're not making as much as you want to make, just work a little harder, put in more time. Maybe you can push that 50 to 60. Settle. Think about all the advertisements out there. The Wall Street will guarantee you nothing. Banks will offer you 3% or 0 point nothing percent for their, savings accounts nowadays. You settle for 5 to 7% annual returns and think that that's reasonable. Okay. If you knew the rule of 72, you would understand that that's not reasonable. People end up, not on purpose, but because they have no other choice, relying on Social Security and whatever amount of retirement that they're able to scrounge together. Tonight, you saw something different. Okay. You saw the MWR path. Again, revolutionary, disruptive. Build a retirement income and assets in 5 years. Okay. In 5 years or less. That is possible. We showed you in black and white, again, in simple color by the numbers fashion. Use the bank's money, okay? OPM, other people's money, with no risk to your personal assets. No personal assets involved, no credit required, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, I disagree with that. And then no personal credit is required, but it's damn good if you have it. If you have got great personal credit and you've got great business credit, you've got two sources of lending and you get there twice as fast. You get to leverage assets and people. Okay. Remember, we talked about, 12 becomes 1164, 3 becomes 12, becomes 36, becomes 90. We're watching that happen every single month, as we watch and we recognize the people who are doing this today in real life in this business. We leverage assets, not our assets, but the assets that make money, people to make more money. This is how, in reality, and this is something I'll just tell you because I talk about this on my radio show as well. There's 3 types of income in the world. Okay. There is active income. That's what we start out doing. We get our first job, you make, $5, $10, $20 an hour. But, there's only so many hours in a day. So there's only so much you can make. There's salary. Okay. Again, a limiting factor. But it's still you working, trading hours for dollars. And then there's commission. Same thing. You working for hours for dollars. That's active income. Then there's semi-active. Let's say that you build a sales team, whether it's in this business, the insurance business, the real estate business, you build a team and now you benefit off of the efforts of the leverage of the people that you have. So I make some of the money and I might make my direct money on top of the money that I make from my team. And then there's passive income. You see, retirement only comes when you have passive income. Active income, Warren Buffett, said it very famously, as long as you're trading hours for dollars, you'll have to work until the day you die. When you have passive income is the secret. Now, back to our MWR path. Generate 12 to 24% annual returns in the investments that we talked about. That's a far cry from the 5 to 7 that are reasonable. And we're talking about stuff with low risk. We're also talking about getting to the point, which is the point, to enjoy passive and residual income that you own. Only you can fire you. That's the 11,000 government workers that were laid off in one day. That's the thousands of people across the country that are getting pink slips nowadays from their secure jobs. This is income that you control, you own, and it grows over time, Gerald.
Eric, it's amazing because I mean, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about I was on that traditional path 8 years ago before being introduced to MWR. So I'm on the MWR path now. And it sure feels better because that path that I was on, my friend, I would have had to work based on the earnings from my current 401k. I would have had to work until I was 80 years old. And that wouldn't have been any fun, no question about it. So that's why we feel, ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfect business. I mean, universal appeal. Everyone wants a risk-free way to build wealth without using their own money. Immediate income. Eric talked about it. You're getting paid every day and every week. Earning money right now so that you can take care of right now bills. High retention, one of the highest payouts and retention percentages in the industry. When they come, they stay. Recession proof. This is probably my favorite part. Everything you need to protect and keep more of the money that you make, regardless of economic conditions. Eric, you mentioned it earlier, regardless of what the market's doing, regardless of what inflation is doing, we get a chance, sir, to build our own economy. If people just really would grasp that concept and understand that, we could separate ourselves from this madness that we see in our current economy here in the United States.
And that concept of, there's really are two economies. There's the one that you read about in the news that the government always talks about, that you have zero control over. You can't affect whether we go into a recession or whether we go into economic boom. However, then there's your personal. Very, very good point, Gerald, because your personal economy really can be controlled by you. You can either give up control or you take control. I love one of your sayings, you have to participate in your own rescue, right? The answer is out there. The formula has been presented, and here it is, the opportunity. Grab the golden ring or let it go by.
Wow. I'm grabbing the ring, my friend. Myself and many others, tens of thousands of people across the country. Let's talk about our good friend out of Atlanta, Georgia. We want to talk about that revenue sharing plan again, which maxes out at $15,000 a day. I mean, here's a gentleman who's making $1,500 a day. He's currently the top income earner with MWR. This very revenue sharing plan that we shared with you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is how he's produced the income. And he's parlayed that money into investments. 20 acres of land in Atlanta, Georgia. He calls it Bean Acres. He rents properties for movie shoots, commercials, all those kinds of things. He's got a condo in Dubai. I mean, and living an incredible life because he saw what we've shared with you and he ran with it, including my good friends Charles and Judith Ivory, both former military, retired from the military, took jobs with the federal government during the COVID period. They were furloughed. And during that furlough period, someone introduced them to MWR. They took it and ran with it. When it was time to go back to work, they declined. Why? Because they were making more money doing this than they would have made going back to work for the federal government. And that picture you see, the photo there, that was pre-construction. That 6,000 square feet dream home is now complete and they're in it. And all of this has happened because of their involvement with the MWR. I saw this opportunity 8 years ago. Basically, a grown man going to a job every day, paid on Friday, broke on Monday, wanted to figure it all out and didn't have a clue, but surrounded myself with these experts, took full advantage of the program. And within 2 years, started generating enough income from this very revenue sharing program to walk away from a $65,000 a year job. So, Eric Wilson, there's nobody in the country that could ever tell me that MWR doesn't work. It works and it works well. All we've got to do is engage ourselves. So let's talk about, as we wrap this up, the cost of waiting, right? You gave us the numbers early. If we just quit playing around and not do anything with it, it could potentially cost us $500,000. So the question now is, can we afford not to do MWR? And I'll ask this question. If not MWR, then what? And if not now, then when? And if not you and me, then who?
Yeah. Do you have a 5-year alternative? You know, it exists, but you got to put it into action. Or you can take this, I keep calling it color by the numbers, because, what a lot of people really need is a direction. Show me the playbook.
Wow.
And here is the playbook. And like you said, if not this, then what? I don't mind, but when people say, let me think about it, okay, that usually means, because no decision is also a decision. And the people who get on in this world are the people who take action. The people who say, let me think about it, then, the next episode of Yellowstone comes on, or the next bright, shiny object comes along. And the next thing you know, you're pinging and ponging back and forth from all these different things. And ladies and gentlemen, today, okay, this is how well I follow this. Today is day 246 of the year. There's only 365 days in a year. We
Wow.
now have less than 120 days. In other words, we now have less than 4 months left in the year. Audience participation again. Let me ask you, tell me what is significantly different about 2025 versus 2024. I've been asking this question a lot lately, and I usually get a shrug of the shoulders. I don't know. And that's not living life. That's not being excited about year. I started this year with a mantra: 2025 is going to be the year to thrive. And it has exactly been that for me this year. It's been very exciting. And I'm going to tell you that a big part of it is because of the motivation, the attract of MWR, the possibilities. I didn't know anything about precious metals before MWR. I didn't really, and I lived, 25 years in the mortgage industry, and I didn't know about business funding was so accessible. I thought it was, you got to have a big company for them to consider you, and you and I can get a minimum of $50,000 of guaranteed business funding because of access, not cost, but access. And like you said, we weren't locked out of opportunity. We were priced out of opportunity. And now you can have all of that information from one single source.
Big deal. I mean, it's an absolutely big deal. The playing field is now even, ladies and gentlemen. No question about it. So let's take full advantage of it. So, what do you get when we talk about the advantage of the MWR community? Eric mentioned it earlier. You're going to get support. You're going to get ongoing education. You're going to get a mentorship network. I mean, so all of those leaders we showed you: Fernando Ramirez, Brian Bean, Charles and Judith Ivy, Eric Wilner, Randy Christensen, the list is long. All of those people are positioning themselves to assist you in every way that they can to help you succeed. We're going to recognize you. We're going to celebrate you for your achievements, but we want to see you win. A little different than the corporate structure, right? Where the guys are just cutting your throat. They don't want you to get in front of them or get promoted before they. We are cheering for you. We're rooting for you. We want to see you win because, again, we know that there's just a handful of us and we want to help each other succeed. Eric, so there's some steps that need to be taken now to finalize this process.
Yep, more numbers to color. So number one, get your questions answered, right? Contact the MWR director, the person who was thoughtful enough to think of you, that this is an opportunity, that they see the opportunity, and they hope that you will too. So get back with them with any questions. If they can't answer it, well, they have people like Gerald and myself and countless other experts and people in this in this organization that, as you said, want to help you grow. We all want to grow. Number two, choose your membership level. Maybe you want the membership, try it out, get used to it first, and validate in your own mind. Or in my case, I said, I'm going to validate both at the same time. I'm going to validate the membership and I'm going to validate the business. Gerald is the poster child of the validator. He saw this opportunity. It was offered to him in the very beginning stages. In fact, before a lot of the benefits that we talked about tonight even existed. And Gerald thought it was a good deal back then. But Gerald did this. He took action, number one. Number two is that he tried all the services. He got an award for using all of the company's services. So he literally was the poster child. But he not only got to see the things in action, he saw how it benefited his own personal financial life. Today, homes in 2 countries, drives the car of his dreams. You see him, he walks around on about 6 inches of air everywhere he goes because this is a pretty amazing opportunity. So then, A or B, the membership or the membership and the business. It's up to you. Clearly, there's no losing choice. The only losing choice is to do nothing. And then finally, when you've made that decision, go online with the director that referred you. They're going to show you. It's literally a 5-minute application, very simple, very straightforward, and you're in business. Tomorrow morning, you're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur with an unlimited future ahead of you. And now it's time to launch your financial journey, with the assistance of all of us here at MWR. We want to see you succeed. And we all believe that this is probably the best opportunity that I've seen come along, and certainly in this industry.
No question about it. I have to agree with you, Eric. I believe it's the best opportunity that exists on planet Earth. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're prayerful that you've seen enough and heard enough tonight to join us on this mission, this ministry, this crusade, this movement, because that's what it's become. I mean, if people are serious about getting their financial life in order, we have a valid plan that can assist them in getting that done, if that's what you desire. So, on behalf of myself and Mr. Wilner, we want to be the first to welcome you to the MWR family. Once again, MWR, make wealth real, guys. This is where lifestyle and legacy connect. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. We hope that you'll join us again on next Wednesday night as we continue our conversation. So, Eric, I'm going to stop the screen share. We've got our director, Mr. Fernando Ramirez, backstage making all of this happen for us. We want to thank you, sir, for your efforts, Mr. Ramirez. And we couldn't do this without you, Eric. It's an honor, privilege to serve with you every Wednesday night on this platform, sir. It gets more exciting every time we do it.
It never gets old, my friend. It's only, what I look forward to. This is the highlight of the week because I know from the rest of the week, I get to talk to the people who attended, who want to get more questions answered, and it's a great thing. I also want to thank all those people that when I said audience participation, when you guys stepped up and put a response, you know, Gerald and I are going to have fun talking about this no matter what. We could probably, in fact, we do this just when he and I are together.
That's
We get
right.
excited about this. When Fernando and I are together, we get excited about this business. This afternoon, our leaders get together. The community that we have built, the friendships, Fernando Ramirez in Los Angeles, California, you there in North Carolina, me here in sunny South Florida. We have people all over the country. I was just thinking about not only how simple and color by the numbers this is, we have a leader. By the way, how easy is this? Every Wednesday night, you know that Gerald and I are going to be here, excited as if it was the first time we were talking about this. Fernando often says, he feels like signing up all over again, and he's a high director. Uh, it is a very fun business with a lot of fun people. You see, remember, there's an old saying that says that you are the average of the 5 people. Your income is the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. Your IQ is the average of the 5 people you hang around with. So, how well are you choosing your 5 people that you spend the most time with? That
Wow.
might be a very interesting thought tonight. You
Yeah.
know, who are the 5 people that I'm around the most? Do they lift me or do they hold me? And that's an important question. The last thing I want to say is that there's one of our leaders who's on the call tonight, who not only, is he an incredible motivating force in the community, he doesn't host one single meeting. He leverages guys like you and I and all of the other leaders that do the meetings. He's a coach, he's a cheerleader. He is just an incredible person, and yet he doesn't have to have an office. He doesn't have to, commute to work, and he makes, just like you, makes a six-figure income and is, in a great place. So this is what this business can afford you.
No question about it. Fernando Ramirez, you've been locked in and planted your flag with MWR 3 years ago, sir, and you know this industry like the back of your hand. You've had major success over the past 30 years. You've made millions of dollars in this industry. And but you saw MWR and you said, this is it. This is the home. This is the final run for me. And you're doing some incredible things, sir. You make us so proud. Your leadership, what you've been able to achieve, and what you continue to build. But your thoughts for the person who's looking at this for hearing this for the first time tonight, or maybe have had some experience in the industry, not a lot, or maybe they've been in the industry a long time and have been looking for the right vehicle. Is MWR the one?
It definitely is. I appreciate you both. I mean, your leadership. Every time we meet and we have conversations, on our Wednesday leadership group roundtable, I dream. I dream of the time that I remember we were desperately looking for something to be able to connect with, a company that would allow us a chance to be able to find great leaders like yourself, Dr. G.W. Parker, Eric, and I. Because of Anna, made the decision to take a look at this business, and we saw it first sight, and we were pretty excited about it. So the minute that we made the decision, we saw what we have right now and where we're going. See, anyone that is here tonight, I want you to think about 31 years in this industry allows you to be very selective when you make a decision. I had a good run when I was first introduced into the industry. I was a broke plumber working too many hours for too little money. So I made my six-figure income by the age of 29. Life happens. In 2004, I closed down doors, and I ended up, basically broke again, making a lot of money, and all of a sudden broke again, right? Because I didn't manage my finances properly. But these 5 years allowed me to appreciate the industry so much. I had to get right back in. I worked another project. That's what we met with Eric for 13 years. We grew an organization of more than 20,000 people strong. Life happens, but it prepares you for the right opportunity. So when we came across MWR, we knew this was the one. Daily guarantee income, a tremendous platform, being surrounded with all the family that gave us a welcome with open arms has allowed us to appreciate that anybody that makes the decision to step in the game, rolls up their sleeves within a 3 to 5 year time frame of hard work, you can accomplish your goals and dreams. And most importantly, anybody that is here tonight, I guarantee you, whoever invited you, give them a hug. And if you're not local, give them a virtual hug and let them know how excited you are about MWR, because when you join us, you're going to feel the love, the support, and you're going to here you're going to work for yourself, but you will never work by yourself. So I thank each and every one of you guys. I mean, it's an honor to be around this incredible table of leaders. As I guess, Eric, you were talking about Coach T, tremendous leader. Behind the scenes, he introduces every platform that the company has to offer, and he's a very successful man for sure. Exactly.
Very
Exactly.
smart, very smart man. And if you get the chance to meet him, you'll see, not only is he a very charming, charismatic guy, but he really cares. And so, oh, look who
Who's
popped on.
here.
You
We're,
guys are talking bad
we're
about
talking
me. No, I'm
about
just
you.
playing.
We're talking about you.
Oh my goodness,
How
I
you doing, Coach
appreciate.
T?
I'm doing amazing. How you doing?
Better than ever. Better than ever.
Better than
Hey,
ever, man. I just get a pleasure listening to you guys. I'm a audio learner, so I tell people I don't have to see screens. I stay in my lane. I understand frequency, vibration, and yeah, I tell everybody leverage your gift. Mine just happens to be sound and music. I'm really a guitar player and a professional musician that most people don't know. So, I tell people this is an incredible opportunity. It's so simple. You just have to really surrender a lot of your thoughts
you're
and really
preconceived.
learn this language.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
you have
we're
to really
taught so much.
surrender.
You're right. Yeah, there's a
Hmm.
lot of preconceived things that we're taught that is,
Yeah.
that there's more opportunity out there than we know. And that's why, I watch what you do. And people know that that you got their back when they come into the business. And, and like I said, no office, none of the usual. Look at that ring. Look at that Super Bowl ring that he earned.
You can,
So
everybody can have this. You choose it. Just lock in. Just lock in. That's it. It's not
so in
deep.
in
Get your
in the
oxygen mask on first. That's all.
In the chat, one of our attendees, let me go back and get the name, was asking, is this only for Americans? And the answer is no, this is for everybody. This is for everybody in America, yes, but you don't have to be American, and you don't even have to have a social security number. You can do this with an ITIN number, and that goes for, most every one of our services, including home ownership. So welcome, come one, come all.
Can I say something to that, what you just said?
Please.
I just registered a guy who lives in Japan. Japan. He's going to build his business from Japan, from what you just said. So there's no restrictions. There's just get with your person who brought you in or that you're speaking to about this opportunity. And like Mr. Wilner just said, get your ITIN number and US address. And this is a very common practice done by people that don't live in the US who have run businesses in the US. So definitely, yes, you can do this any part of the world. You can do this in the middle of the jungle, to be honest with you.
That's awesome.
And that's a challenge. Anybody out there in the jungle, it's your turn.
Wow.
Good deal.
I love it. I mean, you can't go wrong with these leaders. I mean, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you come from. The question we have here is, how strong is your vision and how bad do you want it? That's it. That's it.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
I want to welcome Maribel. She just joined us a few days ago. Micah, they're new upcoming leaders, tremendous leaders. They have the desire to learn from what we're doing here. So welcome you. They just signed up a few days ago and they're pretty excited about it. And they have business experience, Micah, I think she's a realtor. She has business experience. And I believe we also have, let me see, anyone else? No, not tonight. But Maribel, she's learning the basics of the business world. She's a young lady, desires to win. And so she's definitely found home. So we want to welcome them and everyone else that is here for the very first time. Whoever has brought you, like I said, let them know how thankful you are. And because they took the time to contact you and say, hey, I want you to listen in. And you obviously have heard from the best leaders that we have here tonight. Thanks again.
Absolutely. And welcome aboard, Fernando, to those young ladies. And guys, we're excited, honestly. I mean, for me personally, best business decision I've ever made, most rewarding work that I've ever done. MWR, no question about it. Lives are changing every day as a result of this opportunity. Coach T, thanks a million for being here again tonight. You're always supportive of the platform. Continue to be with us, sir, and pour into us. We love you for that. Eric Wilner, you're my man. Thank you, sir. Truly love being with you on Wednesday night. Fernando Ramirez, couldn't have chosen a better business partner than you, my friend. God bless all of you guys. Have a great evening. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night.
Cameras are open and microphones too.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye, Lisa. Champion.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Sandra, bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Anna Marie, bye-bye.
Thank you. Great job, Dylan.
Jameson, champion.
Great job. Congratulations. Eric.
Wilner.
Doctor. And congratulations to Fernando. I think your speeches or your comments were extremely inspiring. Thank you. And
Thank you so
come
much,
back.
Mr. Wilner. Bless
No,
you.
if anybody out there thinking it's too late because you're in your 50s or 60s, that was my 89-year-old father who's, still going strong. And for him, he's just reinventing what retirement looks like. So,
Well, he's my business father. And you're my business brother, Eric.
there you go.
So are you, Dr. Udali, and everyone else.
Have a good night, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Yes, sir.